Hello, hello, my friends. Another dedicated candle review for you today. We're going to be talking about Kringle Candle Cedar Incense. Full disclosure, this candle was sent to me in PR by the brand. I am a brand ambassador. However, if you've been with my channel any length of time, you guys know I'm going to let you know the positives, the negatives, whether I would repurchase it, how this candle is performing in my home, and I leave it up to you to decide if this is one that you will want to spend your hard-earned money on, or if you say, that's all right, I'm going to go ahead and pass on it. So this is one of their new 22-ounce 3-wick vessels. These have now officially replaced the large 2-wick tumblers that Kringle was known for. I personally feel like this is a great call. I know that there's a couple of folks who, and I can see where they're coming from with this. The other size did fit into a candle crock a little bit easier. This size will not fit into a crock or a lot of candle accessories. However, for me personally, you guys, I really love the addition of the extra wick. I like that Kringle kept their aesthetic that they are kind of known for. It's still the same design as their 2 wicks and their 4 wicks, but it's just, again, a little bit different measurements, I would say, in terms of the width and the height and the girth, I would say, of the candle. So I myself have been pretty happy with this new 3-wick format. Let's see, these do retail for $31. This fragrance is also available in a 4-wick vessel, which is 32 ounces. And then it is available in the little mini single wick tin that retails for around $7, I want to say. The larger formats are both 100% soy wax, clean burn, all of the things that we have come to know and love and expect from Kringle. Okay, fragrance notes on Cedar Incense. Our top notes of pink pepper, smoldering incense, and star anise. Mid notes of myrrh, charred cedarwood, clove leaf. Base note of oakmoss, patchouli, and black amber. This has a pour date of June 11th, 2026. All right, so first and foremost, let's go ahead and talk about what my nose is picking up here, because I'm going to be really honest with you guys. Last year, I felt like Kringle had an absolute love affair starting in their fall collection with the notes cedarwood and amber. And for me personally, you guys, I start to get a little bit nervous when I see cedarwood, patchouli, and amber all mixed into one blend with Kringle, because my nose does not always like that. It can come across a little bit too much like a cedar chest, like freshly cut wood. And so I was a little bit nervous about this fragrance. However, I was actually pleasantly surprised when this one showed up on my doorstep and I got my nose into it, because while I will say that this is still not my favorite fragrance, this is still not a fragrance that I personally could have seen myself going into a store, picking up and smelling and deciding to purchase. I will say that this has probably been the best blend for my own preferences of those notes together. So my nose is definitely picking up on this is not as heavy like cedar wood to my nose. That's what I was expecting. It is a softer take on it. My nose, I think, actually is picking up a little bit on that pink pepper on the top. Anise can sometimes, to some people, come across a little bit like licorice, but I'm not detecting that here. This is actually a really nice blend of almost like a sweetened, slightly smoky wood, but the base notes of oak moss, patchouli, and black amber, my nose does detect oak moss in here. There's definitely that something that is ever so slightly, and I'm talking slightly green in this, not overly floral spring-like green, not even full on like the, what was the one that they had, was it Spanish moss? That they had in the spring collection. I know a lot of people are wanting to, I think that one is returning. It's not that green, but I am going to say that this one is, it's very nice for this time of year. And I find this to be a really good, like, blending type of candle. So if you are somebody who likes more earthy types of fragrances, this is definitely going to have you intrigued. Now, the mid notes there, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't know what myrrh smells like. I've never gotten my nose on myrrh. And the clove leaf in there, I definitely pick up on that too. There is a slight, again, very, very soft element of spice in this. This is nowhere near the spice level that you're going to find in pumpkin cashmere. Yeah, even I would argue that white pumpkin and sage has maybe slightly more spice, not really, like that's not like a super spicy candle, but I would say like if you've gotten the pumpkin cashmere and you smell the spice in there, that is definitely a more spice forward candle than say this one. The spice note in here is definitely like a clove leaf. It's more so, it's very, very dialed down. It's not even like the cooking spices that you would get. It's more of like a, it sounds kind of funny, but like a leafy or more natural, like spice in its most natural state. I guess that's the best way that I could describe it. This one, honestly, you guys, it's a little bit hard for me to describe. Other than I would put it into the earthy category. There is a woodiness to it, but again, it's not that heavy cedar wood that we had in the fall 2025 collection. I know a lot of people love some of those fragrances, and so I'm not knocking you if you were in that camp. But for me personally, it was coming across a little bit too much like I was walking through a fall craft fair with people who had freshly like designed like wood, had been like woodworking, right? It was just a little bit too strong. This is much, much nicer. The cedar in here, again, the charred cedar wood, there is an element of a little bit of smokiness to this, but not like bonfire campy campside smoke. It's definitely more of like a little bit of a char. And, there's incense at the top too there. And obviously the name says incense in here. This is not as incense forward as the Halloween Black Cat, which if you are curious about that one, we'll talk about that when we talk about the Halloween release. But that fragrance is definitely more if you are of the Catholic faith or if you have ever attended Catholic Mass, and they use incense, maybe some other traditionally Orthodox um, religious practices might use that as well. But that's definitely more of like a really like incense forward fragrance, like sweetness with frankincense. Whereas this is not that, but it's got a little bit of it in there. It's very, very pretty. I find that this would probably blend really nicely with a lot of tree fragrances. I actually like pairing this with. You guys are going to see reviews of of other candles this week, but this pairs really nicely, believe it or not, with the Aspen Ridge fragrance. And it also pairs really nicely with Silver Eucalyptus from the Reserve line that was launched just prior to the fall lineup. So those are some of the candles that I've been burning it with. Let's go ahead and talk about the strength and throw, the performance. So you guys are going to see, I'm going to turn this around here. Nice deep wax pool. I have been burning this for almost 4 hours now, and it's been in a hurricane. So you can see I'm a little over halfway on this. Strength and throw on this. Here's what I'm going to tell you guys. And I know there have been some people who have been talking about this in the KRINGLE Facebook group. I'm going to tell you guys, first burn of this candle, I put it out in my living room, and I will tell you that the fragrance got a little bit lost. Could I detect it? Yes, but it took a while for me to start smelling it. I would say it took about an hour and a half. It was completely pulled out, but I couldn't smell it for about the first hour and a half. And then when I could smell it, it was very, very light. So initially I was like, okay, like, what do I think about this? So then I went ahead and I put it in the closed concept bedrooms. And I'm going to tell you, for me personally, this size and this format performs best in a closed concept. I'm going to give this one probably about a 6.5, because I have lit it and put it out in my open concept since that first burn. And I will say that it is slightly stronger out in the open concept than it was, on successive burns than it was on the first burn. But this is still not a like powerhouse type of fragrance. And truthfully, I've talked about this many times on my channel. This is one of the fragrances, and I'm going to just go out on a limb here. Of the 4 fragrances that I'm going to be reviewing, possibly 5, from this new fall collection, Aspen Ridge, I think, is designed to be a very, very strong fragrance. But this one and White Pumpkin and Sage, I think by nature are designed to be a little bit more like, they're not going to be like smack you in the face fragrances. They're definitely designed, I think the profile is designed to be a little bit more of like a noticeable but beautiful background type of fragrance. I don't think it wants to announce itself into the room too aggressively. And I think that that's part of where the beauty is found in this fragrance, because I feel like if it was any stronger, for me personally, it would really be too much. So I'm going to settle on about like a 6.5 in terms of strength and throw on this one. Again, if I put it out in my open concept, I can smell it, but it's not as strong, I would say, as say the pumpkin cashmere got to be on the latter end of its life. I know that there again have been some mixed reviews in the Kringle Facebook group. People are starting to get their candles in, and it is funny, you guys. I don't know what it is about soy wax that it can be so quirky. Sometimes I will have amazing performance on a first burn, and then the next burn will be almost undetectable, and then the third burn it'll bounce back, and then like it can tend to go on a little bit of a roller coaster ride. Or sometimes I'll have the first burn, like this one was pretty light, and successive burns have been stronger for me. So I don't know, you guys. I don't know the science behind it, other than I know that it tends to be a bit of a quirk with soy wax. But in terms of the wicks performing well, having zero issues with the wicks. And so, yeah, I would say that if you are somebody who likes those earthy fragrances, in summary, I think that this is a good one. If you're hoping to have this fill up in a huge open concept, you might want to look at getting it in the 4-wick. But I would suggest personally, before you even dive right on into that, try getting it in a smaller format just to make sure that this is a fragrance that you would like. But I do feel like um, this is one of the earthy fragrances that Kringle has done really well, that I feel like this could carry not even just through fall, but I feel like this would be a good winter scent as well, year round. Maybe even if you're somebody who likes kind of those more natural earthy types of undertones setting the story in your home, I think that you would really appreciate this fragrance. So I do have an affiliate discount code with Kringle. It is Katie15. It will save you 15% on your purchase. That is eligible for a commission, so please only use that if you are comfortable. I am working really hard, you guys, on trying to get some of these new 3-wicks that I have in my hands reviewed for all of you guys prior to the Halloween Part 1 launch that's happening on August 7th. So that way, if you're wanting to save money on the shipping aspect, and maybe throw some of these fall collection candles into your cart at that time, you will at least have more thoughts. I know that there's plenty of other people who have been doing a really good job of reviewing these candles here on YouTube, and over on Instagram as well. But that way you have, more opinions, I should say, on how the candle is performing. So overall, you guys, here's my plans for this one. While I like this fragrance, it's not an absolute love for me, and it's not one that I would repurchase. So this fragrance for me, what I'm going to do is I am actually going to set this aside and put this in my Amy pile. Amy is another Kringle ambassador from Beloved Fragrance Finds. I am likely going to be seeing her over this weekend, and so I've been setting aside a couple of fragrances that I think she might appreciate. I actually think that this might be a scent that she would really like. So I'm going to go ahead and set this one aside for her, so that way she can get her nose on it, and if she likes it, maybe then she can film a review for all of you guys as well. So anyways, let me know in the comment section down below if you purchased this one. What are your thoughts? How would you describe it? I always like and encourage you guys to chime in with what your nose is picking up, because I've said this over and over again, and that's why it's a great thing that there are so many of us on different platforms that review home fragrance, is that all of our noses can pick up on different things. And it's great that there's a whole bunch of people chiming in and letting us all know what they are experiencing. So anyways, you guys, please hit thumbs up if you found this review helpful. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new. And like always, until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.